Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today is going to be a great episode. Thank you for joining me. I have Jess on from Supercell. We're going to tackle some big issues in today's video, specifically online bullying and more specifically BMing, the use of using emotes in an antagonistic and aggressive and an annoying way against your opponent. Does that verge on, and is that considered online bullying? If so, why does Supercell allow it? Why did they even introduce emotes to begin with into the game? We're going to answer all of those questions in today's interview with Jess. Before we get to that, I did quickly want to address something with you guys. A few videos ago, I had somebody who was a relentless BMer against his opponents. He was also a really good teacher of a student and a teacher of the game. He was a coach, and he shared a really awesome deck. However, a lot of you were very upset with him and even me for even bringing him on, basically promoting somebody who engaged in such, deplorable behavior in some of your eyes, okay? So, me personally, I released a video about a year ago now talking about BM and comparing it to online bullying. I thought that, you don't know the mental state of the person on the other end of the other device that you're playing against. So even though it might not be triggering to you, it might be triggering to them. Ergo, it's a form of online bullying. However, I have always prided myself on being somebody who's not afraid to change their opinion on a subject, even one that I feel passionately about, in light of new evidence and new experience. And, I think that's important, not just on this topic, but on everything in life, is that people stay way too convicted in one kind of line of thought, and they're really reluctant to veer off or even consider alternative point of views. So, bringing it back to this topic, I think I've changed my thoughts personally on BMing. I think it's more like trash talk on the basketball court rather than bullying in, the school hallways, or even worse, bullying like to the point of, it's people are tragically losing their lives, thousands and thousands and thousands of people each year to online bullying. So I don't think it does justice to the real issue of online bullying to compare using emotes to that now. So what is my final takeaway? My final takeaway here is that I've changed my mind. If you BM, I don't think you're a bad person. However, I do think that you're engaging in bad sportsmanship by the letter of the law. Furthermore, I'm not going to bring BMers. Well, I am going to continue to bring BMers on the channel, but I won't be highlighting replays where there's BM taking place or excessive BM. If there's like one thanks, or they know the person, they say oops a couple times, I'm going to draw the line somewhere. But people who are just spamming BM, I don't want to bring that on the channel anymore to respect my viewers who were really upset that I did that. I'll just ask people who engage with BM when they're sharing replays to refrain from doing it so we don't trigger anybody in the audience. So I hope that is a happy medium to kind of satisfy all of my audience members. Again, what you guys say really means a lot to me, and I never want to let any of you down, whether you're the minority or the majority of my viewers. I take your feedback very, very seriously, especially on matters as sensitive as this. Anyway, I've been rambling way long enough. Let's go ahead and bring in Supercell and see what Jess thinks of these issues. Alright guys, I am so happy to be joined by Jess. She is in charge of the User Safety Initiative over at Supercell. Jess, thank you so much for coming on.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Ash.
It's really cool that you made yourself available. I got to meet you when I was over in Finland talking about anti-bullying with a youth board. It was a great event, great time. And I noticed that you guys started this new initiative. It's called the Stop, Speak, and Support Initiative. And you know what? Back when I was growing up, I'm an old man, Jess, and when I was growing up, there was no internet, let alone, or it was just in its birth, and online bullying didn't really exist. So I do want to talk a lot about BM. It's something that I kind of, I don't know, I touched a nerve in some of my subscribers. But before we get to that, just in a broader sense, can we talk a little bit about the initiative that you're in charge of over at Supercell, trying to curb online bullying, especially in Supercell games?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, welcome to the Old Farts Club. I'm also part of that. So also
Good
not
company.
super familiar with cyberbullying as not experienced it when I was younger either. So but I've had a lot of great conversations also like with the youth board that you mentioned and through our partnership with the Diana Award, who are specialists in the anti-bullying field. And I learned a lot about the topic. And I just think that everybody has a role to play. And also we, with our games, we bring millions of people together every day. And so I think we also have a role to play there, and we have a responsibility to make sure that our platform is safe. And that we're, watching out for our players. And so that's why we started some of these initiatives. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We just really think that that's our responsibility, and we want to make sure that things are all right.
Well, I certainly commend you guys for doing this. It's certainly not something that you see game developers doing at all, really, addressing online bullying. I haven't seen it, at least personally. So huge kudos for doing that. It's a cause that's really close to my heart as well. So I did want to get specifically talking about Clash Royale, and more specifically talking about BMing, which is basically using the emotes in game in a way that's purposely trying to kind of antagonize, aggravate, or even make your opponent rage at times, right? So a lot of conversation lately in the community of, I even saw some comments on your anti-bullying video of, oh, they
Yeah.
allow BMing in game, but yet they're anti-online bullying. So let me just put it to
Right.
you very simple. Can BMing be a form of online bullying in your eyes?
Well, I think the short answer would be no. I think that bullying is really something that that attacks you personally. That's something that is really addressed to you as a person, or what makes you, whether it's your gender or religion or race. I think that's where bullying goes, and it's like something that is really targeted as you as a person. And I think BMing, can it be like super annoying and really like, get you crawling up the walls? Yes, absolutely. Is it bad sportsmanship? Yes, I would say that too. But is it bullying? I think the answer there would be no.
I can respect that. Actually, just to be totally honest, I put out a video about a year ago or so before muting was added in, but honestly, that wasn't even the game changer for me. It was just more kind of introspection on the idea. But I kind of compared it to online bullying in a video, like I said last year,
Mm,
basically because you never know who's on the other end of your device. That was my
mm,
case. And if somebody is maybe unstable, had a bad day, going through a really tough time, I mean,
mm,
what if you deal with a great personal loss and you just want to get your head away from everything? You go
mm,
on and you're just at that right moment, someone just catches you, and it can be extremely frustrating. So
mm.
that was kind of my case there. But the more I see
Yeah.
these stories every single day about people really taking their own lives tragically all over the world, all based on real online bullying, not just using an emote
Mm,
in the game. Now I've kind of revised, upon further thought, I've revised my opinion to kind of reflect that it is annoying and it's bad sportsmanship, and I don't want to do it personally. I don't like people do it to me, but I don't think it does justice to the real issue of online bullying. What would you say to the people who do rage out there, do create physical harm? Maybe they punch a wall, maybe they bash
mm.
their head into a wall. I'm not advocating this, guys, but what do you say to that? If it really
Yeah.
does lead to something like that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that also I totally agree with you. That in the sense that it is bad sportsmanship, and there I also want to underline that in that sense we really also are not supportive of it. And I think that maybe we can. I had a few chats also with some community managers the other day. Maybe we can be a bit more sensitive when sharing videos where BMing occurs. I think that is definitely something we should consider. So we're not turning a blind eye on it. We do have these conversations. And, I think that obviously this is going to be the obvious answer. But if you know that, these things get you enraged, then obviously we'd recommend to mute them. I know that there has also been a lot of requests regarding why don't we have a mute button that is kind of when you mute it on, like for every battle. I think that's also a conversation that we will have at Supercell. So there hasn't been a decision on that yet, but that's something we'll definitely discuss. I think that could be something that could maybe make people's lives a bit more easy. And maybe also to share a little secret. Well, actually, I don't know if it's a secret, but I at least think it's interesting. So emotes were first added to Clash Royale to convey the message that the battle is indeed real time and that you're indeed playing real time against another player, right? So it was really, at the beginning of the game, the developers wanted to have something that really conveyed that message that you're not playing against a bot or that it's a replay of some sort, but really that there is another person at the other end. And so now, of course, it's a really elementary part of the game, and taking something completely away from a game is always really, really hard, because there's also a lot of people out there who use the emotes in a friendly and, sportsman-like way. So I think, of course, we'll have some more conversations around this topic. But yeah, I think if you get enraged by it, then maybe try and mute them.
That was very cool that you talked about the option of having a permanent mute, because I think that is a popular request as well. Yeah. So it's cool that you guys are discussing that internally as well. And I never knew that about conveying that it was a real live event. It does make sense though, because I think there's no doubt in anybody's mind that the person who actually is BMing you, it does exist somewhere.
Yeah.
To find them and give them a little real life BM at times, but still, it does achieve that purpose for sure. Okay, so I wanted to ask you one last question, and this is a tough one for me. I think that, I know that I take online bullying very, very seriously. As I mentioned to you earlier, it's always been a very, seeing my brother who was disabled get picked on and bullied throughout school was really, really difficult. I also went through some bullying myself during high school, and I'm sure I was on the giving end of bullying too, which I'm so ashamed of. But, being a teenager, I think that there's no excuse, but we all have to learn these things, right, to do the right thing. Yeah. And partially seeing my brother and seeing myself get bullied and knowing how it feels, made me wake up and realize how big of an issue it is. But then online bullying, it seems to go a step further, where people are protected by the anonymity of the internet, and they say more aggressive things than they normally would say without that shield in front of them.
Right.
But a lot of people, when you address this, a lot of people say, it's this new sensitive culture, you're being super sensitive, blah, 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 whatever, and kind of dismiss everything in that blanket statement. How would you advise that we as ambassadors in the community, or just as members of the community who want to do the right thing, how should we respond to those people, the naysayers, that this is not really an issue?
Yeah, well, I've seen those comments as well. In preparation to this talk, I've also browsed through a couple of comments and so on Twitter and whatnot, and I've seen those as well. And the thing that I was thinking is obviously these people have never encountered bullying, and then that's great for them. Hey, I'm really happy that you never had to encounter bullying, but don't talk it down for people who really have encountered it. I think that in a way, we are all different, and things affect people differently. So if those people are not affected by this, be happy. That's great, But I think we should still take the issue serious and accept that there are people out there who are clearly affected by this. How should you respond to these people? I'd say not at all, probably, because whatever you say, they're just gonna, throw it back at your face. So I'm not sure if there is a convincing message out there, or a message out there that is convincing enough for these people that this is a serious issue. Again, through my work with several organizations, I've heard stories that really make me have no doubt that this is an issue to be taken serious. And I think that, again, as I said earlier, everyone has a role to play. And somebody asked me the other day that, do you think that the internet is too big to be managed, and I think that the answer is no, because we all are on there. So we all have a role to play, and we all have a voice. And if we see somebody being bullied, then speak up, say something, use your voice to, to step up. And I think, it's a learning process, in a way. Of course, the internet maybe is still young, and we also have to find our rules and ways to act with each other. So I think that's something to keep in mind when you're engaging in the online space.
I think that's a great advice there, Jess. So again, I want to really commend you and Supercell and your team on taking this initiative. I really truly think that it's really well received by the community, and it's awesome to see somebody doing this. And I also wanted to thank you for taking the time to come on my channel. It really means a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ash. And maybe one last word is that I also want everybody out there to know that, you know, there is still a lot of work that we also have to do on our end regarding, you know, reporting features and whatnot in the game. So, you know, it's not just that we're like sharing videos about it and like being all like, hey, don't bully each other, but you know, there's still a lot of work for us to do as well, but we'll make sure that we work on these things and also make the platforms safer. But yeah, thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity to speak about this today.
No problem. And I guess I'll leave you. What if you have one further thought that you'd like to, send to the players of Supercell games regarding bullying specifically? Is there anything in addition that you'd like to say?
Well, I think it probably is in line with the video which is shared recently, our Stop Speak support campaign. You know, like if you see somebody, you know, bullying somebody, stop for a second and don't like chime in. Speak up and maybe offer some support to the person. You know, if there is a bad comment, you can offer a supportive comment and kind of, you know, make it better. And also use the report button. You know, it really does do something. Although there's also a lot of people out there who claim it doesn't, but there is a work in progress behind it. So do use it. And if you feel that you need to speak with somebody, you know, then do that, because that's also very powerful. Just, you know, grabbing a friend or you know, somebody to talk to.
All right. Well received. Thank you so much, Jess. Again, appreciate it.
No worries. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. So guys, that is going to do it. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Very, very kind of Jess to come on the channel and talk about the anti-bullying initiative and about BM and answer really all my questions. So I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. On behalf of me and my YouTube partner, Bren Chong, we are out. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, take care, guys.